everybody? Jordan here, Stats on Stats podcast here at Tampa Bay Tech Week, and I have made a new friend. You want to tell them who you are?
Hi, my name is Desiree Lazaro. I am the co-founder of a non-emergency medical transport company and a health technology platform concept that it focuses on care coordination.
That was a lot.
It is.
That's a lot.
It is, yes.
So tell me about it. What is it?
Well, the everything I do sits in the care coordination space.
Yeah.
So medical transport is transporting individuals who couldn't otherwise transport themselves to and from medical needs. Recently, we had someone who was airlifted, who had a traumatic brain injury, broke both limbs, is in a wheelchair, and has a lot of appointments that they need to get to, and they can't drive. So we have wheelchair accessible vans. In that space that I worked in, I learned that there were a lot of gaps in the modality between chronic care conditions. They can be acute but reoccurring. So head and neck cancer patients like myself, when I was a kid, I had head and neck cancer. So there's a lot of transition from radiology, oncology, surgery, chemotherapy, and in that modality and those shifts, there's a lot of gaps and drop-offs, and that's the space that I live in the work that I do. I found there was a lacking in resources and tools in that space, so I patented and developed a concept to serve that gap.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So at what point, so you said you had cancer when you were younger?
I did, yes.
Okay, so I would imagine that's part of the reason you do what you do now,
It
right?
absolutely is, yeah. I mean, I had a doctor tell me once that sometimes cancer leaves your body if we're lucky, but it never leaves your mind. And so through customer discovery and learning about what the people we serve need and building with that in mind, I was able to connect with people who were able to relate to me and that I was able to relate to very early on. If it leaves your body and you get to move on and you get that time back, it stays in your mind. So the idea that I survived cancer and others might not, that's a gift. Every day is a gift to me, and I don't know why I was afforded that gift and somebody else wasn't. And I meet with these people and I interview them and they inform the technology and the work that we're doing, but it influences everything I do to relate to them and to keep the girl who had cancer and who survived and the people who are experiencing what I experienced before today at the forefront of what we're doing.
Wow, okay. That's deep, honestly, because there's a couple ways to dissect that, right? Because oftentimes I feel like when people go through a hardship like that, either they kind of, curl up for way too long or they kind of thrive. So what do you think led you to do the latter, like thrive, and inspired you to want to do something that can contribute back to kind of some of the things you were going through?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a phase where I curled up for a bit. It was hard to talk about. There's a grieving period, there's a processing, there's a coping period, and I went through that period. And so maybe my work in the past has been a little bit further removed from this, whereas like now I'm directly, targeting. Our first cohort of customer discovery was done in head and neck cancer patients specifically, and I had mine in my lip. I don't know if you can see right here on the side of my face, but I targeted the exact demographic that was me and in the work I'm doing now, and then other chronic conditions like cardiovascular. But before, maybe I was looking more at risk management or AI implementation to clinical settings, which is research I had done previously before as well. But now I'm targeting it directly. So I guess it always was there, but over the time that I coped and grieved and came to terms with what it meant to be a survivor and work through survivor's guilt, I was able to get closer and closer to the source instead of being a little bit more adjacent like I had been in the past.
Okay, thank you for that. So we're at Tampa Bay Tech Week. You obviously have a lot going on. There's a lot of people here. What do you hope to get out of it?
What I hope to get out of it and what I already have gotten out of it, this has been a wonderful event, and I have learned a lot about the Tampa Bay technology and health technology ecosystem. There's a lot here that people aren't aware of, and it's sometimes an underestimated space, by myself included. When I entered the space and I was like, this isn't Silicon Valley, this isn't New York, people say that over and over again. But this is Tampa Bay and there is something here. And so being really aware and having that on display and connecting and engaging with the resources that are here that are sometimes underutilized or underestimated or maybe taken for granted has been what I hope to get, and it's exactly what I have gotten.
Oh, 100%. Something you mentioned, by the way, is health tech. And yesterday a young man said fintech, and I was like, I don't know why it seems like especially us. So Tiffany and I are in cybersecurity. It seems like we just totally forget that there are like completely other subcategories related to tech. So it's always refreshing to hear just all these different points of views and perspectives. I think that's part of the reason these events are so exciting.
Well, they're really exciting too, especially because there's a lot of overlap. Like I'm not in cybersecurity, but in health technology, if you don't have cybersecurity in the back of your mind, then are you really doing health technology well?
Period. No, that's a good point. Okay, so for the people to find you after this, because they're going to be like, I want to connect. She's dope. Like, how can they find you? How can they connect?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Desiree Lazaro, Lazaro. I'm on Instagram as DesTechX. And then also my company for medical transportation is called MediMotos, MEDIMOTOS Co. Think of medical motor vehicles. And you can find me anywhere. And hopefully find you on your page too while we're connecting.
So are you going to be at the party tonight?
Yes.
Were you on the yacht last night?
Yes, I was.
You're standing.
I am.
That's crazy.
You know, I crawled myself into my bed last night a little late, and I crawled myself out of it a little early, but we're doing it.
If you don't have a headache, you're not doing Tampa Bay Tech Week.
Exactly.
Period. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much also.
Stay with you, y'all.